All right, traders. Hey, welcome on back here this Tuesday afternoon, December 16th. Great to have all of us back here just rejoining us. I saw just before Kathleen, Leda, Michael, got Grant in the house, got all of us just joining us here. Let's give me a quick sound check to begin and make sure all of us are not just awake, but that you can hear me loud and clear, folks. Let me know if you got me here. Should be good to go. Lawrence, great to see you as always, my friend. I had Sandy just before welcoming her on board as one of our new gold students, as well as Scott. I was talking to Albert earlier. Actually, got to chat him back, actually, in fact, as well. April, greetings to you too, as well as Tim and Kevin. I had mentioned Michael and Grant and Tom. Great to see Tom as well. Now, without further ado, let's hop right into the thick of things. Actually, Tim, I'm happy you're here. Revisiting the Netflix swing trade. So we'll get to beat here in just a bit. This stock is up about 30%, even higher from yesterday, and let alone from a couple of days before that. We've been trading the stock since last week. But, hey, it's on a tear. We're going to come back to this trade in just a bit. But let's just dig right into what we've been all waiting for here. If you've been listening to us for the last week, we've been saying, hey, listen, if the markets aren't going to flip resistance into support around 685, 686 or so, that was, I think, pretty much, it was 86 and 87. Failed to get the job done going back into Friday last week. I was actually out that day. But ended up seeing a slash down here. I figured, okay, well, it seems like we're about to get our gap fill opportunity. I've been screaming about this gap fill opportunity for the last week or so in lieu of this. So finally, we had our pullback today exactly down to this close price from November 25th. Now, we teach this point blank, not just here, but really in our curriculum. Phase 2, I have a whole class that covers gaps, squeezes, and bounces. I'm in teacher mode right now. So actually, I still have my PowerPoint slides up here. Take a look at that. So you could even see just gaps, squeezes, and bounces. That's a 60-minute class I go through with you in phase 2. We went over that just last month across the month of November. So you could always check that out, at least on our student portal. Nonetheless, though, hey, magic happens here. We had a nice gap fill to the T. Perfect, right at 675, right on the kisser. It's nice, but this is just the beginning. So we have the CPI report coming out Thursday. We got tomorrow, obviously. We'll see if we hold higher, and we got to make a higher high at least locally. So we're not fully out of the weeds just yet, but beautiful move so far, I got to tell you. So, a couple different trades that, well, we've been fans of for a little while. Perhaps this type of bounce here setting up could lead to another squeeze back up for Chipotle. So as far as the swing trade that Fausto's been, steering us, steering the ship for us here on, well, a lot of us, including myself, had jumped in on this just a couple weeks back. We've been cruising on this as a whole team. The bounce in the market could lead to the continuation of the gap fill on Chipotle, right? It's already making a decent little bounce after the morning pullback early on. Figma at least had a decent day today. I was like nearly break even yesterday morning, but obviously it bounced. And well, hey, that gap fill and the slingshot thereafter, that would really help a trade like Figma. Now, Netflix is a trade that we had our eyes on from like the end of last week, midway last week it was. We saw it pull back, and we've been waiting for this to not just break below 100, but at least try and test like a strong historical level or area of support. So right around $95, $96 even, I was telling Tim, listen, hey, if the markets are going to bounce, I think that we'll eventually see rising tide lift most, if not all boats. So I wanted to give a couple of shots out there on Netflix. So I did jump back in on Netflix. I ended up taking a small loss on that. It was like one day late last week. Jump back in on it. We're going to see if that can squeeze back up for us. And then Palantir. Palantir here. Ooh, I ran into this just before. I was plotting out a couple levels and stocks and whatnot. I just said, let me look at Palantir. So all of these lines kind of put together is the resistance. Just, a lot of these wicks from the daily, weekly chart here, just put together. Well, listen, it's coming back up to it now. It wicked up and down last week here. And as long as we hold around these prices, there is a good shot, not just for Palantir to flip resistance into support, but, well, what comes after a higher low? So, I'm very much interested in seeing Palantir squeeze up higher. But, for right now, I jumped in around like 187.20 just before. Tiny, tiny size. It's expensive. So I'm just doing into this though over time. Probably get 100 shares at most there. at least for the time being, a couple of decent swing trade opportunities, though, now that we have our gap fill. Now, again, though, if we don't get the big move that we're looking for by the CPI report by Thursday morning, and if we keep testing support here off 675, be careful. We could possibly go lower. So, with any trade, I always say this recently, I've been saying this frequently at least, you're never going to make money if you're too afraid to risk it, right? Well, of course, at the same time as that, when you enter a trade, don't just kick your feet up and sip a margarita and that's it. I mean, surely it's 5 o'clock somewhere, my friends, but well, not here. And aside from that, you never want to kick your feet up. You never want to get caught sleeping behind the wheel on a trade. If the market keeps pushing down, then we got to realize that, right? So good start. Let's see what we can work with, not just for this afternoon, but going into even later this week for Thursday. But with that in mind, though, I mean, hey, day trade, swing trade, any trade, this Tilray thing has just been an animal. Even from when I was out the end of last week, this decided to make a big pop Thursday night, Friday morning when I was out. Right here, big old pop there. So made a good move for you on Friday. Good day trade move. It's not immediately a swing trade idea yet, though. There's a thought behind it if it ends up breaking higher, if it ends up flipping a resistance into a support. So at least by the time I jumped in this trade myself today, this morning, it started off as a day trade. I wasn't necessarily going to try and swing this, but now that we had broken above yesterday's high, we're back over a couple of good areas here on the long-term graph. Looking back, let's even go back further. This is a giant pump and dump stock. So you got to go back to probably like 2023, 2024 time here. All right, so that's going to be an issue. This is going to be a bit of an issue here. Got past support right around 1493, 1592. We'll kind of round up and we'll just say $14 and $15 respectively. I'm sorry, $15 and $16 respectively. So at least at those prices, past support should be resistance, and it has been. Well, it's going to continue to be for right now. So at least for the time being, use that as a potential target at 15 to 16-ish. Now, I was on a coaching session with a student earlier today, and we had noticed this as well. So take a look at this on Bookmap. Right away when I saw this, who was I with earlier today? I think that was Scott I was talking to earlier, Scott C. And, basically it just pointed this out. I'm like, wow, this seems pretty big. 101,000 share sell order up top there at like $16.43. Well, that's resistance, and that's a big iceberg that represents resistance. So, of course, from the long-term graph, you have these levels, but right around 1643, we'll kind of make that a different color. Too. There we go. That's our iceberg. So for the time being, Tilray, we're going to put this back on our watch list for the afternoon. Give me a second. I'm just going to type this out in full, so it's going to be easy for me to copy pasta this to all of our students here in just a bit. Tilray, nice stock to work with for the afternoon so far. CGC, this thing's like watching the grass grow, unfortunately. The Tilray is the more lively stock. Now, Tilray is not category one. This is not a stock that I'd recommend for like brand new traders to just immediately jump into. But it's not a category 4 or 5 though just yet. So it's kind of in the middle, kind of between a 2 and a 3. If you want to challenge yourself, at least as one of our new students, do this on smaller size. It's got a good book, but I was hoping to have like more of a category 1 or 2 type of trade, pot stock kind of making the same type of move. Oh, this might do it. This is an ETF, MSOS. This is a U.S. cannabis ETF. This is a little bit slower, less wild, more tame, I guess you should say, than Tilray. So we'll add this at least. You got Tilray, the stock. You got MSOS. This is an ETF. Get the CBD trade too. Why CBD? Kind of poke back up to resistance there, right off 140, 145. Not much to talk about for right now in this trade. That's all. All right. So what we'll just do right now, folks, I mean, hey, we had a great morning outside of at least Tilray and a couple of the pot stocks there. And we'll recap a couple of the others as we go right from top to bottom here. But, Riley, RILYL. I don't know what type of stock that is or a warrant. This is the common here. This is the common stock, otherwise. RILY. This thing is cruising, just breaking out higher as we speak. So a good move for right now. Oh, that's a gap fill. Hey. Nice gap fill, but before it Well, tries to fill the gap. It's got to double up in price almost, get back up to $10 at least. Make, what was that, 40% move up there otherwise? But and even before that, it's got some historical resistance right around these wicks, right around these highs from around $7, 725-ish or so. So this is nowhere near gap filled territory yet. And it'd be nice to see it do that over time. But for the time being, it's a good day trading stock. We'll add this to our list for right now. I just don't know what's up with these other tickers though. Riley P, Riley L. I don't know if those are warrants. Normally it would be with a W for a warrant. So I don't care. Either way, Riley common stock will add. AMCI, we are not going to add this. We're done with this thing. In fact, this thing is like chainsaw Charlie choppy. This thing is out of control, just sideways moving. It made a good push earlier in the morning, and it got halted to the upside where I had such good timing on my entry. This was really, I was so happy with my entry on this. But, it didn't really move too much without me afterwards. But B, I got stopped out when this reopened up. This is a category 5 stock. So I had a stop set when it was halted. Well, by the time it reopened up, it was all over the place. Crazy wick down and up. So it immediately stopped me out, break even right at my entry price. All right, whatever. I missed $1 per share move, but not much more than that. And thankfully, I missed out on all this shit afterwards. Look at this drop. That's a mess. So you can't trust these trades as far as you could throw them, especially, well, for students like Leda, Wendy, Grant, Michael, Phil, I can say a lot of us, Margaret at this point, Joyce at this point, Kevin getting close to that point. It's like, certain stocks just from experience. So I don't think any of us have ever really traded this one before, AMCI. So if you've never seen the stock trade and it's already got a thin order book, probably not too comfortable with it, right? Probably not as comfortable on that compared to something you're more used to. But then when you look at the float, well, you just know that this is low float stock. There's a low float here, 20 million shares. Don't take that for granted because we trade stocks with less float than that even. 20 is still very tiny. In fact, hey, remember what iRobot was? IRBT? Remember this thing? Thank you, Elizabeth Warren. No, seriously. No, but the float on iRobot, 22 million shares. That's the float on this thing. It's basically 2 million more than the AMCI. So just pointing out that, you can't trust these trades as far as you could throw them. And now by the end of this meeting, if this wants to finally break out of this area, then I don't mind reconsidering as a day trade type of move. But let me see it. Let's keep going down our list first. CPAC here, kind of spotty chart. Not a whole lot happening on that now at this point. Let me actually refilter this out. I got to change the volume criteria here, I see. There we are. Weeded out a lot of low volume crap, at least there. Pets, Pet Med. I think that Rich posted some news out on this earlier today in our chat board for all of our students. Something about Cardone Ventures announcing an unsolicited $4.25 per share all cash proposal. Whatever. Buy the rumor, sell the news. Led to a pretty good squeeze up already. And don't get me wrong, there could be more room on it. It looks safe, looks pretty tame and tradable. So I don't mind putting it on our list. Just I wouldn't really buy the news wholeheartedly, expecting a move exactly to 425. Hey, maybe it pops over that price and keeps ripping up way higher. But just for the time being, focus more on where your iceberg orders are. Focus more on where the spread is at for the time being on that trade. ALDX, that's actually at the high of the day right now. Just kind of slow, but it's tradable. It's at the highs. Would be kind of harmless for us to put that on our watch list. Kind of cherry picking right away, seeing if there's anything we could just get right to the point towards. And, the beat trade, we actually said we'd get back to this year. I started off our meeting with kind of just this on our screen. So, yeah, it's holding for right now. Held just here on a bounce, moved back up. We'll add beat. I like it. Definitely has done a good job over the last week there. Definitely not as much of a tease as we've known that stock to be, at least in the past. RZLT, also a tease. The stock is a giant tease because if you recall, I think it was this morning. If not, it was probably yesterday. I lose track of my days, let alone what I have for breakfast in the morning. But RZLV, yeah, I think it was earlier today. I made a comment on this right here, 8:50 in the morning. If you see popping up on the top right of your screen, I said RZLV, bad historical chart. This is not a good swing trade idea yet. Only a day trade for now. That's what I wrote verbatim, at least in the chat earlier. Finally, it's moving up now. I don't know what the hell happened here. If news came out great, either way, it's still not a great swing trading chart, right? Oh, you know what? My dyslexia. That's too funny. RZLV, RZLT. Ah, that's funny. This is the one that I was actually saying that about. Well, you know what? The same exact rules apply, in fact, because this is even worse. Look what happens here. Don't get me wrong. I guess it was on a little tear as a swing trade for a little while, but still looking back long term, it was making lower highs for a long while. Little move here from July, I reckon, but now, yeah, erase all that. We're right back down lower lows and back under that resistance. So this is moving now as a good day trade. I was mixing this up with the other stock that we were focused on earlier, not RZLT, but RZLV. We'll both have crappy long-term charts, so same rules apply. This is a day trade and a day trade only. Do not try and hope and hold on that, right? So let's make sure I can read these tickers clearly. Make sure my dyslexia doesn't get me tripped up again. But AZI, same thing. Circle, little update today. Affirm, not bad. Potential breakout off 73. A little expensive. LAES not doing too bad today. You know, decent stock that we've done all right on in the past. TE recently, this was a good swing trade for a while, and it still, it still is. Yeah, it still is. Definitely today, bouncing back up off of yesterday's closing price, ultimately under and over. But maybe come back to this one later on. Right now, let's hop over to the loser side, at least seeing what's looking good from there. If there's any good shorts, maybe perhaps. Real quick skim through for right now because I'm looking for a bounce across the market. We had our gap fill, so I'd love to get a stronger move back up at this point finally. PDF, this is down today. Kind of a skimpy book, not really a great need to put it on our list. It's at the lows though. ATXI, more tradable. This one seems to be, I think. Oh, there you go. A little break lower right now. Support, not much support even showing out there at 1350. This might be a better short trade. Now, here's the issue, though. This has been an incredible swing trade. Speaking of long-term graphs, this is, yeah, that is a good long-term graph. So it's tough to go against the grain trying to short this thing. Now, that's where I'll just say, at least, if there was an opportunity to see that happen, it would have been at least off the break of those wicks and that low. So if anyone got the entry off around here, oh, that's the sweet spot. But I don't know if I'd be chasing at this point on this trade here. It's easy to borrow for the time being. I don't mind adding it to our watch list as a potential short. It's looking good. Long term, that's a great long-term graph. All right, folks, I'll tell you what, not much else that I see here that looks really that enticing. Maybe EOS, I could probably force something out there, but anything else looking good from, Kathleen, Michael, Brad, Steve, all of us here in chat. Let me know if there's anything that you want me to look at here before we wrap up. Yeah, Tesla. There we go, Tesla. Not up that 5%, but, it's a sideless stock that we always want to jump back to. And especially if we're talking about the market making that gap fill and bounce, well, you do want to focus on some pretty strong looking trends. So personally, hey, I chose Palantir, Netflix. You knew I was a Netflix, fan from the last week or so. But Tesla specifically is like really looking good today. I'm going to put Tesla on our list for all of us right now. Good call right now from Bill. And you got the ETF, TSLL. From Herta here, one of our new members joining us, Roku. Probably a good long-term graph. Yeah, a decent long-term graph still, and just, good swing trade opportunity, I'm certain. But as a day trade, obviously, Tesla's expensive too. But you want something that's closer to the highs, something that is, trading a little bit more volume right now. So that's all right. You'll definitely learn a bit more as you continue to be with us day to day, Herta, as a trial member. So welcome aboard, certainly. And, it's a good swing chart. Yeah, we're definitely always a fan of Chipotle, Joyce, or at least not always, but we are a fan of Chipotle for the time being. We have been, and I hope that you're still in it with us there. APLD from Chris. Doesn't look it, but it is up, right? It doesn't look it because it got so beat up yesterday. Uh, Interesting. Yeah. Probably see this build out over time swing wise, Chris. I would love to revisit this as a swing trade in due time. Day trade wise, though, uh, it's doing good today. This might be where, like, if we have a bunch of stocks that look like this, I might have to kind of cut the meeting short because you just don't want to build up too big of a list at that stage. But hey, it's a tradable stock, looking good. If you're in it already, I'm rooting you on. I love that APLD trade. Actually, 1 second. APLD still has a tiny bit ways to go to get back up to the high of the day. That's the only thing I was thinking there, Chris. Just going back to like Palantir, it's not just because I'm interested in it, but this is a little closer to set highs for the time being. Just that's kind of where I'm thinking about it right now. All right, you know what? Yeah, just the last one I'll kind of think about is Circle, CRCL. It's up, even more percentage wise, a little bit close to the highs of the day also. So how about this? I'm going to add a couple more trades here to our list. I'll go Palantir. I'll go Circle, but also Circle has an ETF, CRCA, cheaper. So you don't need to trade an $80, $90 ticker for that at least, right? All right, so there we go, folks. Hey, I got to jump onto a coaching call in about 8 minutes, and I haven't even sent out that link yet, so that's on me. But I want to make sure that my students ready for our coaching coming up. So again, best of luck trading going into the close for all of us here collectively. Any of us on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, etc. Leda, appreciate you as always. I showed this off, didn't I? In the trading room, I did. How about this? You know what? Shame on me, Leda. Check out this wreath that Leda on YouTube, hand pink waving right there. Yeah, she made that for me, as she has done recently year over year. But oh my God, I got it yesterday. What a gift, first off. Second off, smells incredible. I know you can't smell it, but I can. It smells great. But otherwise, what a gift. So thoughtful. Probably took her a long while to craft it. Thank you so much, Leda. Not just on YouTube, but obviously one of our longtime students. Everyone loves her. It was just her birthday on Friday. So happy belated, as I had said even before it was her birthday. So thank you once again, Leda. I hope you have a great holiday season. Merry Christmas to you and your family. And whew, this is beautiful. So this is hanging up right outside the Levitan compound today. All right. So with that said, folks, I got to jump on a coaching. I'll talk to everybody soon, at least if you don't catch me inside the live trading room. Best of luck trading heading into the close.